Warning, this video contains rumors, speculation, strong opinions,
All right, welcome to MME. We have RJ, Rhea, and Eddie. And Saggy is, I don't know where Saggy's at. She's out there chilling in Miko somewhere, on a Miko After Dark podcast. So I don't know where Brian. Firewater said he might join tonight, but then he might have got busy. He's a busy dude. I've been spying on Eddie's channel. So if you want up to date news, go check out Oh My Diaz channel for topics. And what's this about? Is this another one? I think it's a good thumbnail. It's about, I forgot to look up an article about the dislike button. There's a discussion if they should remove it. And I wanted this to be a discussion about how did fandom, movie talk, and nerd culture get this bad? Is it all on the fans? The fans are responsible for a lot of it. Also, Jeremy, the thumbs down, they are notorious. It's proven. You don't. I could find the proof, video proof, but you don't really need to look. I don't want to look it up. But basically, Rotten Tomatoes review bombing and laughing at it, and pointing and laughing and sending the mob and defending the mob to the point where this is where I criticize them so much. Where is if studios actually listen to the fans, like releasing the Snyder Cut, what he promotes and what he plays softball for the giant mob, it actually is a detriment to studios listening to fans. Because when it comes to this, they think you're never happy. They think you're laughing at it. But the studio execs are not that innocent either. If you look at what works with like these big movie universes, this is new. I mean, Star Wars existed before, but these big universes where there's shows and movies, this didn't happen before Marvel and Star Wars until Disney took them over. And now everyone wants in the game, especially with streaming. But ignoring what your consumers want and like doubling down and tripling down and just ignoring them. And there's no good interactions with them except criticizing them on Kathy and Walter Hamada's part. I think Feige does the best, obviously.
Because Feige is a fan himself. That goes a lot into it as well.
Yeah, and he has a plan.
So it's a nuanced, complicated subject because the reason it's so bad right now is it's because of everything. The fandom, the executives in charge that get big paychecks and ignore what the consumers want. And then also the critics. The critics cause major issues because they're here for the clicks too. Just like the hate ragers are, Jeremy and all these in this big menace group are there to review bomb, hate everything. When the critics get called out on bad behavior, they like to blame it on a toxic fandom as well, even when it's not there. So it's a combination of all these things. I would like to get your input on this, and we'll maybe look at the article. Maybe we'll start with RJ and then Rhea and then Eddie. What's your thoughts on this? How did we get this far? And because the article, let me read you the article. It's Hollywood Reporter. From Justice League to Star Wars, studios reckon with toxic fandom. Is that the only issue? Is what I would like to ask you.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting subject for sure. I mean, this whole conversation, the whole about toxicity and fandom, it reminds me of an article from about 5 years ago when BVS came out from a man named Devin Faraci, who was not a very nice guy, but he wrote an article on Birth Movie's death called "Is Fandom Broken?" And really the highlight of that article is really about, with the advent of the internet, more so than ever between the years of like I'd say 2015 to 2016, especially. It was when fans started to rise up in a certain way and actively use the internet and social media to really campaign against creators and demand that they make products that they want to see. A good example would be the Fantastic Four movie when that came out, all the outrage about that movie and how even like good-natured Marvel fans who wanted like a good adaptation of the Fantastic Four were like, hey, you need to just give the rights back to Marvel and all this and all that, So it's really an issue, I think, of it goes both ways. I think executives talking down to their fan bases and somewhat insulting them plays into toxicity because it gives fans a reason to get into hate more so. But it also goes into a thing too where a lot of these people, either it also goes with the fans too, because you can't always demand from a corporate entity, like you can't say this is what I want, and like you sometimes has to be like give and take a little bit. Sometimes you need to give in a little bit to what they want to put out and give stuff an open chance. But also too, there's nothing wrong with being a vocal. I mean, you're paying them with your hard-earned money. That's it too,
Mm-hmm. Rhea, what is the article? What do you think? I know you didn't read the article, but what do you think about just highlighting the toxic fandom? Is there something we have to look at critics and executives as well, and not listening to the consumer that makes it worse?
Yeah, I think part of it for me that's frustrating is the generalization aspect of it. And I think with the narrative that a lot of these articles are promoting, well, like let's use Zeno as an example. I'm sorry to call him out specific or them out specifically.
Don't be sorry to call him out now.
But like we can directly pinpoint examples of where Zeno's trolling, or we're getting comments from him in engagement like that may be considered quote unquote toxic, even if it's not like intentional, because we know that he's trolling. But like that's a very specific example. In these articles, there's no citation of any specific examples, and that's like what's really like getting frustrating for me. Like, and I know it's also like something that I've heard Eddie say is very frustrating as well, like the generalization and the lack of of directly calling out folks. Like that's for me something that's also like really grinding my gears. I'm like, okay, so these people are so toxic. Where are they? Point them out. You're not afraid to like make these national publication statements about this huge fandom of this IP. Yet you're nervous about actually like screenshotting usernames or handles, anything like that. Like where's the proof? Like everyone's just sort of accepting that toxic fandom exists, but we're not given any like sort of concrete evidence. Like it's just sort of like colloquial hearsay as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, cool. And it's also a problem with a lot of even people I like have websites and groups of people, and they constantly go that to grift too. Like I'm being attacked and use it for clickbait videos. There's a lot there, and it's very hyperbolic, and it causes more problems. Eddie, you covered this on your channel. What's your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, well, once I saw the article up, I said it right in my head. I said this is trying to bait people, because obviously. I'd say this all the time. None of us like being called toxic. Obviously, when we see something like this, we click on it instantly to see what they go about. And yes, every time articles like this come out, it's always the same thing. They point out everything that's wrong with the fandom, but never any of the good stuff. And when it is good, when they do point out the good stuff, it's minimum. So it's not that much in there. Like they don't talk about the charity. They don't talk about the the thing in general. But why are we trying to get the Snyder Cut to get released in general? But they never cover any of that. They just and they were comparing, contrasting the Star Wars fandom to us, and I was like, in my head, I was like,
it's getting there. It's getting there, Eddie. It is getting there.
No, look, I was meant to make a video about it too, but look, our tactics are not the same as theirs. We don't resort to their bullshit. I do feel like almost every news media is against like a bunch of fandoms for some of them are rational reasons. Like when it comes to Star Wars fandom, but when they attach a Snyder Cut fandom, I was like, you guys just like leaving so much out, and it is aggravating that they do this.
Well, here's what I think. I think actually even more so than the fandom, the problem is the executives. Kathy Kennedy, Walter Hamada, not listening to consumers, announcing things that don't happen, not giving your consumers confidence to invest in this universe, and not engaging with them unless you're getting paid. And I am a huge critic of Kathy Kennedy. I think she deserved her opportunity for president of Lucasfilm, and I think she fails constantly. Basically announcing things that don't come to fruition, delaying stuff, and the only time she really makes an appearance is when it's a very like Vanity Fair article or Star Wars Celebration. There's no real engagement there. I mean, it's not exactly the president of the United States or anything like that, but there's some engagement there with the people. There's no engagement with the actual consumer unless it's for an event where you get lots of funds, and during that event you announce things that don't happen. I think that's ultimately I put the biggest blame on, and that's hard for me to do because I put a lot of blame on Jeremy. He does nothing good for geeks and gamers. That's why I have an issue with his name. That's why I trolled him for a while when I did this. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, here's Firewater.
But something about the Star Wars fandom now. I mean, not Star Wars fandom, but Lucasfilm in general. I think they're headed in a good place right now with all these TV shows and everything else. But the fact that they have ruined the fans before, that's why the fans don't really have trust. Like within the executives and Cassie Kennedy to finish to bring out more good content like The Mandalorian, and I've seen it before. Even when there's something is good, even when there's the material, everything's positive. There's nothing to talk about. They still find a way to spin it in a negative way, saying, "Oh, this is good," but Kathy Kennedy's still around. Like, come on, just be positive. We're getting some good content.
All right. Well, Firewater's fresh in here. This is the main topic. We have other topics. There was an article, the Hollywood Reporter, Firewater. It also goes along with the topic you suggested earlier, the dislike button. How did this all get this toxic where they might remove the dislike button? Is it all on the fans? I know me and you, especially me, I criticize these YouTubers, and they point and send a mob to dislike to review bomb. But is it all on the fandom, or does the executives that don't listen to consumers or give confidence to the consumer to invest? Like you said, Firewater, if they really don't listen to me, why should I invest my time and money into the DCEU? Does some of that lie on these executives?
Well, I think first off with YouTube, you have to figure out who the customer actually is. Who do you think the customer is with YouTube?
I don't know if the people making videos are actual customers or they're pirates.
Incorrect. Nope.
Okay.
Try again. It's the content creators. They are not the customers.
Right.
And in fact, they actually extract revenue, either by ad sales, their cut of the ads, or just using up bandwidth and generating nothing in return for the company. Some of them do, right? It's not the content creator. It's not the end user. Again,
is it kids and normies? Like little kids or like teenagers?
Nope. One more guess.
Oh, wait a minute. Now I know. Is it the companies that want the ads? Mm-hmm. They're the customers.
Very good. Outstanding, sir. They're the customer, right? Maybe I'm a customer because I have YouTube Premium, so I guess maybe I kind of fit into that. But the overwhelming majority of people consuming YouTube are not doing so, and they do so freely, right? And they probably skip ads or whatever. So the reality is that if advertisers' content is going to be looked frowned upon, they're going to be like, well, when I put an ad on television, there's no dislike button.
Mm-hmm.
I put an ad out in a newspaper or a magazine, there's no dislike button. I could do advertising on a website. I could make it so there's no comments available. So if my ad is just going to get trashed because maybe I used an actress or a celebrity that people want to crap on, like Brie Larson was marketing Nissans that ad got downvoted to hell. But how many of those people who downvoted it can afford a new Nissan?
Right. It's
know.
not. It's
yeah,
not
people also
organic.
downvoted the Brie Larson Nintendo videos too.
Yeah, it's not organic. They just hate the person, so they go to engage in the ad. It's not organic.
I do find it interesting though, because that downvote button is a powerful tool for a lot of these YouTubers that that don't necessarily encourage these mass flagging campaigns. They just laugh and reinforce the behavior when it happens.
Do you think Jeremy does?
Absolutely. Well, he brags about it. Oh, this thing got ratioed to hell. This got down. So does Ryan Kennel, right?
Yeah.
So it's fascinating that
it's defending trolls. It's defending trolls.
Well, I'm curious as to see, because the argument was, and I listened to Saggy's stream a little bit. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to appear to debate my points with Justin, but he's saying that it's taking away a voice. I would be like, no, that's not entirely true, because the creator can see the downvotes. The creator of the video can see the downvotes. They're just not going to put the counter on, right? So some top YouTubers gave up points that they, and like Moist Critical Charlie, right? He I actually like his content. I think he's a funny dude. I think he's hysterical. I love his chess videos because I think they're funny. But he brought up a point. It's like, well, now scam videos are gonna, because you're not going to be able to see that dislike counter. Now it's going to be like, okay.
It might help with comments. Maybe people start commenting again.
Well, I was going to say, maybe, I mean, and not only that, too, what's to stop people from saying, I dislike this video in a comment?
Right.
Well, the problem with that, though, is that sometimes they'll delete comments. But actually, to go off what you're saying, Firewater, do you guys remember what happened with Ghostbusters 2016? When that first teaser trailer came out, how downvoted it got?
Yep.
And the way Sony responded was, especially in the press and the media, especially with Sony and the director Paul Feig, they highlighted the worst comments imaginable. And let's be honest, I mean, I think everyone can agree that there were nasty comments, but a lot of it, they focused on the most negative ones to try and spin a narrative about the toxicity in that Ghostbusters fandom right until the movie came out. And the movie came out, it was a wet fart, it bombed, no one really cares or talks about it anymore. That just shows, Well,
it just shows if you make a shitty movie, no matter how you spin the PR, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Word of mouth is always going to be. Yeah. And they'll highlight trolls in the Snyder Cut movie, because there are people just looking to use it for power, and that's fine.
But you'll never see those articles talk about the suicide prevention charities or anything like that.
Well, no.
This one did. The Hollywood Reporter did, but it also acted like there are some, but it also acted like it was a fact that Ann Cernoff was basing her comment on. Basically, the previous reporter brought it up. How do you respond to toxic fandom? Not actually saying there was proof of it, just saying the scenario. And she's like, "Well, I disagree with that." And now you see how things go. One good person to the next. Now there's all these articles. Yeah, there is, though. There is. It is a problem. I think I really want to get to the point, though, of these big universes in streaming and making people sub to their streaming services, acting like they have things in plans, and that ultimately falls on the executives. I think both Star Wars and DCEU, even though Star Wars is better now than it was a few years ago, they have failed to execute the plans. I think Star Wars is getting better now, but DCEU is whoa.
Yeah, DCEU needs a lot of help, man. Star Wars, I think, is in a good place, and I think it's going to be difficult for the. So now, like I did say that 2020 was going to be a rough year for these YouTubers. I didn't predict the pandemic. I'm going to be honest with you. I had no idea that was coming. I just thought that something like this would come down, because it's going to remove a weapon. That they brag about. Now you can't make views about ratios. Not on YouTube.
I mean it's.
Look at the amount of downvotes. Oh wait, can't do that anymore. And
look at the kinds of videos they've been making ever since the Gina Carano firing with the Lucasfilm and Star Wars YouTube channels.
Now they're actually going to have to work a little bit harder to pay that mortgage with the AdSense, right?
Well, I don't like it being removed either, because it actually hurts YouTubers, because sometimes my video doesn't pop unless I get ratioed. Honestly, but maybe. Yeah, but let's be real. these reviews, if we really want to criticize, go against the authenticity of shills doing reviews, like say the shills and Rotten Tomatoes and stuff, this review bombing and pointing and laughing is not organic, and it is a way to harass people.
I mean, and not only that too, there's no decision that can be made on this, I think, where everybody's going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, here's the reality: all these YouTubers bitching about it. And, you know, Ryan Kittle's back to calling people bitches and whatnot, which I find absolutely hysterical. But he's saying that anyone who disagrees with that is a bitch. I was like, all right, fine. If that's how you feel, I mean, I get it. You got to pump your base up. You get the rent's due probably on April 1st, right? So the reality is, though, is that where are you going to go? You're saying support alt tech. You're not going to leave. Alt tech does not stand a chance against YouTube unless they charge the user. The money has to come from somewhere, not some shitty crypto thing that's not worth anything. Oh, we'll pay you in Monopoly money. Yo, save those $500 bills. Those are worth a lot. You know,
well,
like,
they're pushing,
get the hell out.
I know that they're pushing Odyssey really hard, but who's really going Odyssey? Like, honestly, it's not.
I mean,
the money's not there like YouTube.
You can't make money on it like you can on YouTube. Storyfire, God bless the guy trying to do it, went bankrupt. You can't. You can't compete. It's going to be. Well, I'm sorry. I can't say you can't compete with it. It's very difficult to compete with free.
Well,
YouTube is a free service. There are people that don't have to drop a dime and probably don't even spend money on the advertisers.
You complain about companies and advertisers, and all your money comes from them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's big corporate greed. What do you think YouTube is owned by one of the largest corporations in the world.
Turn your ads off if you're that upset about big corporations.
If you feel that strongly about it, go crowd. Yeah, go crowd surf. Go crowd surfing. Good luck crowdfunding.
What's that, Rhea?
Oh, I was just gonna say that, like off the top of my head, the only other like competitive platform I can think of compared to YouTube would be like, would be Twitch, and even then, like I don't use it just because it's so hard to like find content that I actually care about on that platform. It's like I have no problem opening up another tab for Twitch and keeping YouTube open at the same time. It's just that it's very difficult if you don't already know creators that you want to follow on that platform in order to find their content. On YouTube, I get recommendations. In fact, that's how I found everyone's channel basically that I watch currently is from YouTube recommendations. So there is some validity in the platform, like actually catering to their user base. Like, as creators, I'm sure y'all are also frustrated with the algorithm not prioritizing your videos to your subscribers and other things like that. But for me, just like as a regular YouTube viewer, like an audience user, like it's the reason why I spend so much time on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Twitch is mostly for gaming, and you're right. It's kind of difficult to navigate. YouTube is because YouTube is owned by Google, and Google has the best search engine in the world, at least.
Yeah,
or at least one of them.
With Twitch, you have to click on a hub for a game, and then they'll just spread up a bunch of streams covering that one game. But it's like picking the litter,
Well, I wanted to get to Matt Jarbo's comment here. He's critical of me complaining about Kathleen Kennedy. I think she does. Listen, she announced lots of projects years ago at Star Wars Celebration. She said we're ready to film Obi-Wan. It was so far that ultimately lies on her. And yes, I think Solo could have been even better. I like what Ron Howard did, but
should have just left Lord and Miller alone.
Well, Lord and Miller deserve the benefit of the doubt to let them finish and try. And then also Rogue One. Rogue One turned out great, but there's been a lot of failures that she's had, and there wasn't really a cohesive plan for the sequel trilogy. Only now through the Disney Plus series is it getting back on track. If we didn't have those Disney Plus series, would we be saying that? So I do think she ultimately she bears a lot of the responsibility. She has a long history as a producer. She deserved the opportunity to be president of Lucasfilm, but ultimately, in my opinion, I think she's failed. But we'll get the panelists' response there, starting with Firewater.
Failed. How do you define failure?
To ask the consumer to like the DCEU to invest in your time, not only money, time, in fandom into your universe and your property. And I don't think she's delivered yet. I think the
Well,
Mandalorian
Lucasfilm has been profitable, and Disney stock ever since the acquisition has done extremely well, despite the pandemic.
Yet, the sequel trilogy's been very profitable. Yes.
Sequel trilogy has been profitable. Solo did indeed lose money. Now, of course, that'll make up over time, but no, Solo was and like I said, in my opinion, Solo was better than The Last Jedi, but it doesn't matter that the general audiences didn't want to monetize it, right? So I think what it comes down to is this: is if in terms of the financial benefit of the company, her properties more often than not are profitable.
Okay.
Every studio has a dud once in a while. Now, people could argue Star Wars being the largest franchise, there's really no excuse for it. That's fair. Yeah, I agree. To an extent. However, to say that she's been a failure is I don't agree with that. Can she do better? Like I'd say she's like a C+ president.
Okay.
That's how I give her a C+. Mandalorian's a huge hit. Favreau and Filoni are great. Bad Batch should be a big hit. Like, I'm not anticipating any issues with that show. I could be wrong. Maybe I'll check out an episode. Like I said, the animated stuff outside of the Cartoon Network, like Samurai Jack style animation, those were great. I could watch those all day, and I heard they're coming in April. Actually, those were really cool. And I really enjoyed those. But in terms of her being this god awful, she has to be fired. No, not from a business perspective.
All right. Fair enough. Rhea, do you have an opinion on this, or have you been following Star Wars?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess like my thoughts on it kind of overlap a little bit with the previous topic you brought up from the article. Like, so what I mean by that is like with Kathleen Kennedy, her prior experience, as a film producer, and now she's this this president of a major film company. I want to kind of like say like, okay, yeah, like the experience that she had prior to becoming the president of the company, from my perspective, doesn't mean that you can do one job doesn't mean you can do the other job, and in addition to that, a lot of what I've seen in her past, work is, producer level work. So she's kind of just like the overseer, while the other folks and the creative teams under her are actually executing, which is exactly what is happening here at Lucasfilm. She's just sort of like the overseer, approving, which green lighting stuff, and then letting the creative folks, do their job. And I think part of the lack of experience she had in actually running a film company kind of reflected in the first, few years of her tenure. And now she's sort of rediscovering that, okay, yeah, I'm good at being a producer or this overseeing, person who just, green lights the creative folks to go and be creative and, do what they do best. So I think she kind of had to learn the hard way to just, trust the folks who are creating the content to just do their job. And I think in the beginning, there might have just been more pressure on her to, be more of an overseer, be more of a vocal leader to kind of direct, the direction that Star Wars was going to go. But now that she's doing less of that, and she's more just sort of the figurehead, I think that's where I see that there was some definitely learnings to be had from the first few years where she was, in the position, kind of figuring it out and gathering her bearings and stuff like that. So now what's making her a stronger leader is, her accepting that she just needs to let her team of creative folks who are making the content go out and do their job.
All right. Nice comment, Ray. Eddie, do you have anything to add on this? Kathy and Hamada?
When it comes to Star Wars, obviously Star Wars will always be profitable. It doesn't matter if it's a sequel trilogy or what have you. The people who always bitch about it saying, look, we don't want nothing to do with Disney Star Wars. We're just gonna, we're not gonna buy the toys. We're not gonna buy any of the comics or anything like that. They say, hoard all the old stuff. That's still helping them. That's still helping them make a profit. And when it comes to the movies, look, they have been profitable. Despite it's Star Wars. You guys say the boycott. They say to, all that other stuff, but you guys still gonna watch it just because of the nerd culture. You're not gonna miss out on it That's what you love. Despite even you hate it, you still love it. But I think Star Wars right now is going at a good pace right now. With all the shows that have been announced, everything it's gonna get up there again. But despite her, because she's still there, that's why people are still gonna be negative about it, saying, "Oh, we love these shows, but since Kathy is still there, we can't support Lucasfilm." And it's kind of like odd to me, because should it matter anymore if we're gonna get all this good content? So does it matter if she's in charge? I know, yes, she has some issues with the fans with some of her wording and stuff like that. But like in my opinion, as long as we're getting that good content, that she can go off and do whatever she wants. As long as they're giving the fans what they want, that's what they wanted. That's what they asked for, right? To get good content, and they will.
All right, RJ, you have something to comment on the where Star Wars at now, and then we'll go to the topic.
So I will say this. I think. I mean, it's debatable. Well, it's a subjective opinion whether or not you think that the sequel trilogy was a creative failure. I mean, it wasn't I hated Rise of Skywalker. I think the issue with that movie is that it tried too hard to please everybody, and ultimately it pleased nobody. Which, I saw Rise of Skywalker as a disappointment. It sucks because it's the last movie in that trilogy. It ends the whole story, and when you fumble the ending as hard as they did, it's like it makes the rest of the trilogy, even if I liked some aspects of those movies, retroactively fail for me. But I will say this. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy is interesting to me because I feel like in a lot of regards, a lot of the internet's vilified her and turned her into almost this demonic being of pure evil and hatred in a weird way. But I mean, she's done a lot of good when you think about it. At least in my regards, it's she gave us the final seasons of Clone Wars, which was fantastic. She was the one who put Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni together. She was the one who decided, hey, I'm going to have these two unite and come up with a show together, So, I mean, it's I don't blame most of the sequel trilogy just on her. I think a lot of that blame has to go to Bob Iger and some of the other, Alan Horn, some other people too. Because if you read a lot of what was going on when Force Awakens was coming out, they wanted that movie out quick. They wanted that movie out super fast. Yeah. They rushed that movie in a lot of regards, which is probably why it ended up being that A New Hope homage as much as it was, because they're like, hey, we got to turn out a movie script quick, because they got rid of Michael Arndt and they replaced him with Lawrence Kasdan and JJ. So, like I said, a lot of it's just a shame. But I don't think it's as big of a failure as some people say, I guess.
Well, Cobra Viper says, was the Rise of Skywalker profit? It was profitable. I just think
it wasn't a bomb. It turned a profit.
Yeah,
they obviously didn't do as well as they wanted it to, but it did.
I don't know if there was a lot of merch sales from it. I don't know that part. And
it made $1 billion.
I personally,
it grossed over $1 billion.
Yeah, I personally, in my opinion, think that it damaged the Star Wars saga films, at least the trilogies. Are we going to get 10, 11, 12? It's probably going to be a while, and they have to really figure out how to
10, 11, 12 would be a mistake. I think they should just cut their losses and do Old Republic or some new stories.
Well, there's people that want to see Ray in the future in 10 years. Yeah.
They'll do 10, 11 one day, but it's going to take place in the far future. I mean, right now, I think at least with the movies. I mean, here's the thing, too. I know some people mentioning in the chat. It's well, why should I care about Star Wars right now if everything leads to the sequel trilogy? Well, think about the prequels. Everybody hated the prequels when they came out, but what happened? Dave Filoni came out with the Clone Wars and fleshed out that part of the timeline, and now people love the prequel era. Same thing could happen for the sequels.
Well, you never know. The prequel era is what forced George Lucas to retire. Because he got dunked on so much. And I still find this absolutely fascinating. George Lucas was an anti-big studio guy. That's why what's it called? Lucasfilm was a limited partnership. He was the limited partner. That's it. I think I don't think he took on any other partners. So that's why when he sold, and Lucasfilm, believe it or not, even though he wasn't the greatest businessman in the world, he was still obviously very good. But Lucasfilm had very little debt. A few $1 million out of the $4+ billion he got. So when he sold it to the absolutely largest studio on the planet. So I'm wondering what caused that to change, because there is no reason he couldn't.
I think he was just done. He wanted to go and just retire.
I agree, and he could have hired the most top tier talent in the world. He had money. He had no shortage of cash. Star Wars merch was generating $1 billion a year without movies.
It was the only thing that was making money was the merchandising opportunities, but not
and video games. You had games and things
but,
like that.
But all his ventures that he was trying at the time, he was trying to do a TV show, and they said it's cost too much money. He did Indiana Jones 4. People didn't like it. He did Red Tails. People didn't like it.
I like Red Tails, actually. I
and
think it's a decent little movie.
Well, he got dunked on for that, and then I think Red Tails was his last movie, right?
Oh, and the last
he did an animated film, right?
Oh, he produced it, right?
Yeah. Well, he did that after he sold it. I think he was in the midst of making it.
Right.
Well. The other thing that really one of the last straws after Indiana Jones, he was trying to bring all the movies back to 3D, and he was convert each one, and then people didn't go see the Phantom Menace in 3. He started with the Phantom Menace, and people said, "Oh, Phantom Menace." What am I saying? Damn it! Phantom Menace
already. That's why.
Phantom Menace. He started with that instead of A New Hope, and people were like, "Oh, we don't want to see it." Maybe if he would have started with A New Hope 3D, that would have been more successful.
Yeah,
I remember how big of an announcement that was, because at least in my area, a lot of people went to go see Phantom Menace in 3D.
Yeah.
People
didn't want it. People didn't want it.
But that's the reality, and he, as a filmmaker, you got fans that he created, and it turned on him, and it's just like awful, man. But I don't know. In terms of the whole thing, and it's like, and George Lucas handpicked her.
Yeah,
Iger was better. If I were Iger, I would have said, "F that, dude." If I'm giving you $4 billion, you're selling me the company in its entirety. Like that's it. If I'm paying $4 billion for something, I decide who works for it. Okay, not you, Mr. Lucas. I'll consider your request, but I'm not. That's otherwise no deal. Like, what would be the point? Then why are you selling it? What I would have liked seen Lucas do is follow his thoughts to his conclusion and go to Dave Filoni and say, like, look, I'm going to give you half my company. The other half goes to my kids. Take care of them when I'm gone. Make sure they want for nothing. I don't think Dave Filoni is going to screw them over, the children of his mentor. And he said, like, look, you can hire people in charge. I'm going to leave you the company because you actually know this shit. I think that would have been the best thing to do. And I think it would have been, because I heard that Lucas donated most of the money anyways. So it's like, well, why not just?
Yeah, he did actually. I believe he donated most
that.
to open a museum. Actually,
I believe that, and I believe that. But why not just, if you were going to donate it anyways, which means you're not going to keep it. Why not just give the company half to your children, half to Filoni, or take a piece for yourself, take a little bit of a buyout, take some equity out, and then donate that, because he doesn't care about money. If I were a billionaire, I wouldn't care about money either. So to me, I just don't know why he sold it to the largest studio on the effing planet. He could have created Star Wars Plus, a streaming service for all Lucas Plus.
He would have to risk everything for that, though.
No, he could have made that work, though, in my opinion. But it is what it is. I mean, it's but getting back to the downvote thing, because I think that's more interesting. It's going to take away a cudgel that a lot of these commentator YouTubers use. You can't make those bragging about ratio videos anymore. Right. So, I mean, that's going to completely eliminate that.
What's the majority of the content and things happening on social media about downvotes? Is it organic, or is it just the troll? It's really trolling. It's not like taking away your freedom of speech. It's just
but Max, you got to remember, freedom of speech does not apply to private business. It really doesn't. If I don't like if I own a restaurant, I don't like the way someone's talking, they can't say, well, I have free speech. No, I'm booting your ass out of my restaurant. I don't like the way you're talking.
It's the same thing with, like, if you scream fire in a public area, like, you'll go to jail for that. You can't claim free speech.
Well, before we move on to the next topic, then let's get to each panelist. Are you for this, or do you see this as a good thing? This could help with some of the trolling, and is it on the internet, or what do you think, Eddie? What do you think? Are you for this, or you think it's going to maybe possibly hurt creators? What's your opinion on this?
I remember talking about this in Saggy's stream, the same topic. When I heard this for the first time, the thing I thought about the most, instantly was the Star Wars official Star Wars YouTube channel. How they were doubling the hell out of it for everything they posted, and I was like, in my opinion, I don't really care anymore. But like, I don't think people in YouTube really care that much anymore about dislikes or getting dislikes. Because normally when you get dislikes, you're like, damn, is something wrong with my content? Should I improve or on it or something? But I think like this, because this is combating the trolls, and obviously the trolls are complaining about it, saying, "Oh, they're censoring us and all that stuff." But look, I don't.
Oh yeah,
in
Jacksepticeye. Sorry, go ahead.
In my opinion, I don't care about this, but this might lead to something else. Because I did make a comparison. I was like, what if they try to like go to like to comments now? You know what I mean? Like, why they try to not let anybody comment on videos, and that would be a big thing too. But even though this is like a kind of test thing, but in my opinion, I'm not that worried about if I see dislikes or not.
Well, here's a big YouTuber, Jacksepticeye. He says, well, what about content that is objectively bad and harmful to people, like scams, etc., where it could actually help to downvote? There's other things you could do on the video, though. To his criticism, there, like if it's really harmful content, there's options to.
Well, you just report it anyways.
Right,
That's what I don't understand. I mean, I get like, okay, like so something's kind of like a misleading video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that, the downvotes and everything. In my opinion, I think it's an interesting experiment. I think it's worth walking through because, in my opinion, I think in order to rate and comment, you should have to have a YouTube Premium account. You know, there was a thing where they had some people posting questionable timestamps on young girls cheerleading videos.
Oh,
and which was outstanding, profoundly disgusting. If you charge people to comment and you have their credit card information, that goes away. Mm-hmm. That is instantly gone. That's an instant way. This could be the first step, and I actually don't have a problem with that. Because I think what it comes down to, I would love to see the users pay more for YouTube, because then it shifts the power back to the viewer.
The content will get better. The
power now
better.
Exactly. The power is now with the advertisers. They're the customer, not the content creator, not the viewer. Maybe technically I am because I'm a YouTube Premium subscriber. But the reality is that the viewer is not going to have a voice until they put in some equity, until they put in some money. And I think that's what I think this is an interesting first step. But you know, the creator can still see the dislike, and it will take the joy out of review bombing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's the majority of the Raya? Do you see that a lot of the dislike is used in targeted dislike campaigns and bombing, or what are your thoughts on it being removed before we get to Jarbo?
Yeah, I just think that this is kind of another like reactionary approach from like this major brand YouTube and to kind of silence criticism. Like, I mean, like for myself, I do see freedom of speech as like, you know, like kind of like a Pandora's box, but it's a necessary Pandora's box. You know, if
Rhea, may I ask you a quick question briefly?
Sure.
How does it silence the opinion? It just makes it only so the creator can see it. They can still see the downvotes.
Oh, one thing that this does remind me of that to answer your question, I can't really answer it directly without also like referencing another example that this reminds me of. So like on Instagram, they for creators that, you know, sell products, they actually took away the ability to see the amount of likes on your post. You can only like a post, but you can't actually see the amount of likes on the post publicly. So in a way that it's hard to tell like how that actually like damaged the reach or the appeal of posts to, you know, to their specific audience. So maybe like this is, you know, not as damaging as we may think, just based off that one example that I'm citing. But Firewater, I'll do my best to like answer your question. So the content creator can still, you know, pivot off of that feedback that they're getting from the dislikes, even though we as the audience can't see them ourselves. So yeah, and to your point that the function that folks are saying that is necessary for the dislike button is still there innately for the creator. But I think there are creators who rely on the public feedback of having the dislikes being visible, not only to just like create content for reactionary purposes, like, you know, Geeks and Gamers or other creators that you mentioned, but like also it's kind of a signal for audience members to kind of take interest and engage more on that content. So I think it's kind of like it invites more engagement by having this, you know, mix of good and bad, quick engagement being visible like very quickly on a video.
Matt Jarba, what's your thoughts? I think this is interesting. This happened right after the High Republic video was taken down.
Wait, what High Republic video was taken down?
Star Wars did one, and then the usual suspects, laughed at it. Look at that ratio. You're getting ratioed, and I think they took the video down or something.
I didn't hear about that. So I can speak to someone who has been dislike bombed for an extended period of time, and to some extent is still on certain channels. And no, F the dislike button. If you're going to abuse it, you're going to lose it. That is the way. Well, no, that is the simple truth of it. Right. The simple truth of it is this. If you look at the overall aspect of the situation, your freedom of speech is not being impeded. You're not being stopped from leaving a dislike. It's still there. The creator can see it. So therefore, its target has seen what you're talking about. So there's that. Two, what you have is a situation where the person who wants to go and do the dislike bomb, they're not able to see the results of their action. Therefore, the dopamine hit from taking part of that brigading is gone. So you psychologically remove them from the battlefield, because unless they're going to leave an actual comment, which you'd be amazed at how many people will not leave a comment, then they
We're talking about
they don't
mostly
have...
lazy millennial males. They're not going to do shit that requires effort. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah,
no
these quote unquote alpha new males that don't do anything but cry about it. Yeah. And that's really a fair amount of it. There is like what it is it there's outside of Reddit, all right, and there's not a lot of original content creation on Reddit, but outside of Reddit, no social media company has a dislike button. Facebook doesn't have one, Instagram doesn't have one. You know, they just simply, Twitter doesn't have one. It doesn't exist outside of the YouTube ecosystem, and it's largely pointless. Now, I will tell you guys another factor involved with this, and that would simply be the long-term effect to the creators who do receive dislike bombs. Because what happens is YouTube only cares about one metric, okay? One metric, and that is watch time. That's it. They don't care about engagement. It's very minimal on their scale. But the watch time is where things are really calculated. That determines the video's visibility. That determines the video's reach. That determines the channel being recommended to more people. That is where it's at. So if these videos become review bombed and they get hit with thousands and thousands and thousands of dislikes from people who don't actually watch the content or engage with the content outside of the first 15 to 17 seconds, then their video and ultimately their channel gets negatively impacted in the algorithm that is required in order to grow within this particular ecosystem. So by removing the ability for people to see the results of those actions, you remove a lot, like the vast majority of any kind of long-term harassment campaigns, because it doesn't just happen to one video. People will not just review bomb one video. They'll dislike bomb a ton of videos that you have. And that means it drags your entire channel down. I know from personal experience. And I'll give you guys a prime example. Back in the summer of 2018, before my controversy, I was sitting at about 4 minutes and 55 seconds average view duration. Pretty decent. After that, by a few months, it went down to 1 minute and 37 seconds. My channel is dead. It's dead.
Review bombing can really impact the creator.
The consistent people mad at me for the flagging thing. I get it. Fine. Be mad. I deserve that. But what they did is they systematically targeted my channel for months.
So
if I post anything now, they canceled me, and they canceled me in an irreparable way. I call this the death by 1,000 cuts. And this is what I have gone to YouTube twice now in person I have spoken with executives and I've spoken with engineers about this. And the thing is, YouTube in and of itself is so compartmentalized. One hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. And this is why I've sat them down and I've explained to them how this works. And they understand, but they're also they're tied over what they can do. This is a good thing. You can still leave a comment and you can still leave a dislike. But what it does is it removes that anonymous public number that is largely meaningless.
Well, Jarbo, let me ask
except
you
for
this.
the trolls.
Like,
Except for the trolls.
well, let me ask you this. Like, what if it's like a video that's like genuinely harmful? You know, a video that's like that needs to be downvoted. That way people know that it's a scam or this and that. Like, what if like the person who like uploaded deleting comments to like expose it for being wrong?
Yeah. Well, then at that point, the YouTube has a report system in place for you to use. They have tools in place for you to use. Because here's the other thing with that too, RJ. Can you see the dislike button, or can you see the dislikes to like ratio or whatever while you're perusing a video on the search? You can't. Not from your home feed, not from your search, not from your subscriptions. Unless you have an app, a Chrome extension or another extension put onto your browser, will you be able to see that before clicking on the video? So you're still going to click on the video.
I'm gonna.
So
miss
it still does. It's not going away.
I like it when
There's
I get ratioed.
Hey, look, man. I'll tell you.
Max is a
Can I ask,
masochist. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question for the folks who are like seasoned creators on this platform? In regards to
No, just
yeah,
kidding.
totally. Like, I think it'll be valuable for me to try and get insight from y'all.
Oh,
also.
where'd
So,
Matt
like,
go? I was putting Matt up. Okay. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, like Max, like I hear that you are going to miss, you know, the dislike button because you do want to invite, you know, that discussion and, you know, the counterpoints and, you know, all of the engagement, good and bad, you know, and mixed, like anything is like good. Like you just want to invite everyone to the table to engage on your content, which is great. I think that is probably like where I'm leaning towards as well. Like removing the dislike feature kind of like removes another way that folks can engage with your content. And what I was trying to trying to explain rather poorly probably was the active freedom of speech is kind of a Pandora's box where there is, you know, a lot of mess that you know, explodes from it. But there's also that, you know, that optimism of, you know, inviting, you know, the potential for, you know, new ideas to be discovered and like new ways for you to pivot for future content based off the feedback that you're getting from your audience. So things like that. And kind of like temperature checking your audience's feedback on, you know, on the content that you're producing is also like another valuable tool for that. And I get that it's going to be seen in the back end, but I think for me as just like, you know, an audience member, that's also sort of like removing like another like, you know, kind of optic way for me to determine, you know, like if this content is interesting enough for my time. If I see something has like a huge dislike to like ratio, I'm probably going to check it out because I'm like, you know, kind of I'm really nosy and I want to see like, you know, what the drama is, you know, and I don't mean to go in to stir the pot, but I do want to see who's in there stirring the pot, if that makes sense.
Well, I think a counterpoint to that would be like in a perfect world where people are downvoting in good faith, I think your point holds water. But there is a lot of people like Jarbo said it, and I can understand where he's coming from. That post, he had a scandal, and he is accountable for that, and he accepts accountability for that. But it just seems like people just wanted to downvote the people who are likely crying about Gina Carano getting canceled had no problem canceling him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it takes away that cudgel to weaponize the dislike button. And honestly, it's the usual suspects that are really complaining about it. Some popular YouTubers are, but for different reasons. But, you know, to me, I'm curious now, that's going to take away the ratio content. Oh, did you see this shitty Star Wars video get ratioed? Well, no, I didn't because I can't see the dislikes.
Well, I do see that Matt did make a good point. These aren't actual viewers. These are people that leaving it down.
They're bad
leave
faith
the video.
actors. Yeah.
Right. They're not actually. It's not real engagement. It's not organic engagement, and they might not even be interested in the product or the topic at all. They just come in to make you look bad, and then they leave, and they don't even listen to your argument at all. So.
Yeah, it's the bad faith actors that can do a lot of damage. And I didn't even know Matt's channel got plummeted to hell. Like I knew he lost viewers, he had challenges.
Oh
with it,
yeah,
but
he had the most dislikes. He was
he
pretty
got
close
he
to
got murdered there.
the Fine
effectively.
Brothers. I think he was pretty close to the Fine Brothers for
Right. And what sucks is that, at what point does one pay penance? At what point, yeah, he screwed up. I'm not going to defend his behavior, and I don't think even he will defend his behavior. But and that was not good. But I mean, at the same time, I'm not going to hold that against him forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's what happened in 2017.
He has a lot to add to movie talk. He's very intelligent.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though.
It's just dumb to me when people like bring up old drama anyway, as in order to
Well, and that's what Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers will do. He says cancel culture's bullshit, but then he'll make a video about Match Jarbo. Oh, but he mass flagged stuff 2 years ago. It's like
he can't argue on the argument.
You can't. He's got to go back to what? Oh wait, you mass flagged something a while ago. Therefore, this present argument, I don't even need to address your points. So he effectively cancels him in that video. But then it's like, oh my God, what? Gita Carano can't get fired, or whatever. So. It's again, these people are bankrupt when they see their thoughts out to conclusion. I don't even think they're capable of, to be honest with you.
Is it their fault? Before I'm going to go to another topic, but I think is this can you directly, not everyone, but can you directly tie this to these groups, the Quartering, Fandom Menace?
Well, your commentators that encourage that, like, again, they don't directly encourage it because they have a reasonable amount of intelligence in that front, but they just laugh at it. They reinforce the behavior after it already happens.
They laugh at it. It's pretty obvious what they're doing without actually saying it.
Literally. Yeah, sure. So now it's like, oh well, you taking away our voice. It's like, no, that's not true because the content creator can still see the dislikes. It's just you can't publicly shame anyone with it anymore. That's all.
All right. Well, here's the next topic. Hollywood Reporter Coogler was writing Black Panther sequel when Chadwick Boseman died, and that is a lot. I love that guy. I know Chad wouldn't have wanted us to stop. Truthfully, I'd feel him yelling at me like, "What are you doing?" So you keep going. So he what do you think about his comments? There's not much to talk about there, but Coogler's comments that Chadwick Boseman, I believe that. I think he wanted
yeah, absolutely. In regards to this, I mean, this movie has an uphill battle to climb in a way. I don't envy Ryan Coogler, especially. You have to remember when Black Panther came out, like they were going to build pretty much a large part of the MCU around that character. So now it's about going back to the drawing board and saying, okay, how do we honor Chadwick's legacy as T'Challa while also respectfully moving on in a way that feels organic and earned? It's going to be a challenge. I mean, especially
it's got to be tasteful. It's got to be tasteful, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what path they go forward with. I know there's been a lot of ideas thrown around, but I trust Coogler. I feel like whatever decision they're going to make, whether it's Shuri becoming the new Black Panther or M'Baku or a brand new character they come up with in the movie, I don't know. Regardless, this movie is going to be very sad in a way.
I wish they didn't kill Killmonger. I think Killmonger going on a redemption path would have been cool.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
I'm a Michael B. Jordan fan, so I'm biased. When
this first happened, I made a video too soon about. I said I think they could still try to figure out a way to bring him back. I don't know how, but if they can do it right in the right way, that would be just because of the redemption too. Maybe dealing with T'Challa's loss if he was still alive somehow, because they didn't actually show it. If I got to rewatch the scene.
It was pretty definitively that he died. I would say if they want to use a male Black Panther, I think M'Baku would be a good choice. People
I like M'Baku too.
An actor.
I don't know if he could carry the franchise because Chadwick is he was such a great actor. He was.
Well, yeah, he had such a large presence to him as well.
Yeah,
he just embodied that character so much.
Yeah, so I mean, I like the actor who played M'Baku. I forget the gentleman's name, but I think Michael B. Jordan. I think he would be a great Black Panther. I don't know how you bring him back into the fold, but then again, that's why they pay these guys millions of dollars. They figured out those problems,
Mm-hmm. All right, Rhea, you have any comment on that? On the Ryan Coogler? He's one of I love the director. He's a great director.
Yeah, I just saw like a snippet of his, comment that Boseman would have wanted him to, move forward with the production, which is awesome. And I like that the new content that we're getting is going to be more about expanding on the lore of Wakanda as opposed to just following like the single Black Panther. So I don't know if that's related to Black Panther 2 or not. Like that's but I'm more excited about, you know, the expansion of the world of Wakanda as opposed to, you know, a Black Panther sequel, if I'm being totally honest. And I loved Black Panther, the first Black Panther.
Matt has an interesting comment. I'd like everyone to respond to this comment. He said he'd rather them not do it and do a series instead. About
Well, they
Wakanda.
are working on a series right now for Disney Plus. Ryan Coogler set up a production company, so I understand what Jarbo's saying.
Okay.
No,
But Black Panther is such a big IP.
Yeah,
I don't
you
think they can
can't.
leave behind. They have to find a way to move forward.
And I love Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther. He is Black Panther, and I understand that. And I understand. I mean, I get Jarbo's point, but in my opinion, you got to move on with the franchise. It's terrible what happened to him. He was amazing in that role. That's why I was hoping maybe we could just do Michael B. Jordan could be blipped somehow and comes back.
Well, what's no,
I just can't do it.
I know we were talking about Shuri and
M'Baku.
and then also Michael B. Jordan's character. But what's her name? His girlfriend. What's the actress?
Nakia.
She is such an amazing actress, and she's so well liked.
Lupita Nyong'o, right? Is that
Yes. Could that be? I'm now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, they should really go that route because she is a sought-after actress. She's very popular. Also, the Shuri, the actress, made some comments that people didn't go over well. I'm not saying that's why she shouldn't get it or not, but she made some recent.
But I thought she got canceled. Didn't she get canceled?
Kind of, but
she's still not on Twitter.
The Peter Nwongo,
is she out of movie jail? Shuri?
Well, apparently Don Cheadle talked to her and she apologized privately and stuff, so they've moved on from it.
Well,
but yeah.
that's kind of why I'm like, maybe not that she should be canceled on the movie, but if you're going to put someone in that role, listen, how you engage in social media and outside the thing is, and then the Peter Nwongo is very engaging in you know, the social sphere as well. She, and both on screen and off, I think she might be a better fit to me personally. Now that I'm thinking it, although I do like M'Baku too, but what do you think about her character? Taking over a minute.
I think she did a good job in the movie, but I don't see her as Black Panther. I think obviously she's a tremendous actress. Like you said, she's one of the most sought out actresses and performers because she is extremely talented. I just don't see her as Black Panther.
Well, the way they positioned that character was more so of a side character or a girlfriend role too, which is be difficult.
But can you imagine her dealing with this loss and then taking it up? Ooh.
No, that could be interesting. I mean, honestly, I think what's going to happen is, this is just a prediction. I have no insider knowledge, obviously. I feel like the World of Wakanda show is going to come out first. It's going to flesh out all those side characters from the first movie even more so. There is a possibility, I think, that Ryan Coogler and them are going to introduce a brand new character in that show that will set up the sequel to Black Panther, and he'll be the one to become the new Panther. I think that's a strong possibility, because remember, Black Panther 2 supposedly was going to have Namor. It was going to be Wakanda versus Atlantis, basically. At least that's been the rumor for like years and years at this point.
All right, Eddie, what are your thoughts? Who would you want to see? What do you think of those comments from Coogler?
I mean, it makes sense for Shuri to be Black Panther, and plus, she could be a different type of Black Panther too, with her, you know, the technology and everything like that. Not everything has to be, you know, fighting and stuff like that. So she can use those advantages to you know, combat and all that stuff like that. But I think it makes sense for her sister to be Black Panther.
Okay. Yeah, I actually, is this bad to say? I don't want to say it like this, but to see how they handle it, it actually has gone up on my anticipated list.
No, Max.
Even more so than
Yeah.
if he won untimely pass, because I'm very intrigued to how they're going to handle it, and I do want the character to move on, but it's like it's more on my anticipated list now. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but
no, I don't think it's a weird thing to say. I mean, Max, remember when Furious 7 came out? A lot of people were very much looking for that movie because how are they going to say goodbye to this iconic actor who's been a major part of this franchise?
I think it's going to make more. My prediction is it's going to make more money. And it's going to be a bigger hit because
it's going to be a summer movie too. So
yeah.
And Matt, I would say, like, in terms of Letitia Wright being anti-vax, I mean, I don't think it's gonna necessarily impede her from being the next Black Panther, at least in my opinion. She deleted her Twitter. Apparently, she apologized privately to Don Cheadle. So, I mean, I feel like people are gonna forget about it because it wasn't like she was. I don't remember exactly her tweets. I have to look back,
that's why I said with these rules, especially a rule like this, I think it helps the character that if the actor or actress behind the scenes is also handles social media and is socially aware of issues in a better way. That's why I said I don't know. I don't think they're not going to give it to her because of that. But that's why I went. That's actually why in my mind I was like the Pita and the Wongo, and I might be saying that. But we have a few more topics. There is actually an update. I was wrong again. Rian Johnson's trilogy is happening.
I know you're about to say.
Yeah, let's go. I'm excited for this.
It's Knives Out though. The Knives Out trilogy. I'm actually for this. What do you think, Firewater? Are you ready for this? Did you see Knives Out?
Yeah, I thought Knives Out was a decent film.
But Netflix closing huge deal with Rian Johnson for 2 more.
$450 million to buy the rights to the sequels.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if it's going to generate. I mean, it did well at the box office. I don't know if they're going to recoup their investment on that, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It's I guess it's getting further and further that he's probably not getting his sequel trilogy, or I'm sorry, his own trilogy, not sequel trilogy. Excuse me. Because he's going to have to, if he locks up that deal. I mean, how long is it going to take to produce those movies? 3-4 years.
Apparently what Deadline wrote today, just as soon as this news broke, apparently Knives Out 2 is going to begin filming in just a couple months in June in Greece. So they're moving very fast on these sequels. So he could have time. I mean, they might come out within like the next year or two, because apparently they're like moving really quick on these.
This is the trilogy that he's doing, RJ. I disagree. This is his trilogy.
I mean, you never know. Hey, if this is a big hit though on streaming for Netflix, what if they make his trilogy a Disney Plus trilogy?
Well, listen, I think Rian Johnson's strength is this type of property, and I don't think it's franchise because he likes to subvert expectations, and that doesn't always do well unless the property is known for that, and he needs to be in control of his whole timeline too. Like he can't.
That's why I think his Star Wars trilogy could be a streaming thing, because with streaming they're allowed to take more risks.
And not only that, he could create his own character. There's no legacy characters to corrupt.
Yeah, but there's just so much. There's just so much. As soon as that announcement, there's so much to drudge up, even from his own tweets. Even if you don't think they're bad, there's just so much there to pick apart. It's like
but with streaming, there's no box office numbers. You either click on it and don't watch it, or you watch it and you like it. You know.
Well, Rhea and Eddie, do you guys want to see him come back for a Star Wars trilogy when he's done out with the Knives Out, Rhea?
Hell no.
Hell no.
I respect it, Rhea. I respect it.
I'm not like Knives Out was fine, but everyone's just gassing it up, and I'm just like, why? Is it because it's that much better compared to the Star Wars movie that we got from him? I think that's the case. Everyone's just like so baffled at like how not bad Knives Out is.
No, I genuinely think Knives Out was a great movie. I think it was one of my favorite movies that came out in 2019. I really loved that movie. I've rewatched that movie at least like 4 or 5 times, believe it or not. Like, me and my dad loved that movie.
My thing is that it kind of came off as like virtue signaling, like, we all kind of, at least the content that I've seen, like Rian Johnson likes to, point and laugh at other people's, like shortcomings, and, it's kind of like make fun of white people for doing quote unquote white things. And, of course the protagonist is, this non-white, immigrant woman, who inherits all the money at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert! But like, yeah, like it's just like this is my hot take. Like, Rian Johnson tries so hard to like other himself from the same group of people that he, who is his primary audience, let alone the same people that he comes from. So I don't know. It's just weird.
Raya is spitting hot takes right now. I love it, actually.
Oh wow!
Ray's going hard in the paint tonight.
All right, Eddie, you have anything to add about Ryan?
Yeah, when it comes to Knives Out, I like them. I really enjoyed it too. Something I'm bummed though that the second one won't take place like the following events after the first movie. I really want to catch up with those characters, but it's gonna be an entirely new thing.
Oh wait,
Well,
I didn't
that's
know
what
that.
I'm
Wait.
excited about, though. It's going to be an anthology series. Each movie's going to be a separate mystery.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
wait.
know that.
Yeah, Daniel Craig's going to be in it, and he's going to be the gentleman
okay.
sleuth
Oh,
handling
okay.
the cases.
Different case. Oh, okay.
But when it comes to his Star Wars trilogy, look, I kind of want to see how it is just to see it. Like he does have to. He can make character. Oh,
Oh, that's a rip.
No,
right
no,
there.
no, no.
That's a rip.
He can just make up his own characters. He has time to set it up, and obviously he has time because he's not.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if his trilogy was going to be like set in the Old Republic and like have all those legacy characters like Bastila or
No.
You know, actually, the
Revan.
greatest combo in history would be Ryan Johnson's trilogy gets announced on YouTube, and then there's no public dislike button.
And also the star of the movie.
That would be
is
worth.
Brie
You know what it
Larson.
is?
Brie
That would be
Larson
worth.
stars.
I understand. And Brie Larson stars. That Rhea, I know how you feel. That would be worth the price of admission.
That would be
Yep.
the spurg out would be real.
What?
They would have lost it.
That is funny.
That would be funny. I mean, come on. Even the most jaded Star Wars fan would have to agree that's kind of funny.
right.
But I don't know. Yeah.
Oh,
I still don't think he's getting
I-
his trilogy. If I'm wrong, then
No.
I'll eat crow. It's fine. Won't be
Yeah.
the first time. Won't be the last time either.
well, I don't dislike much. I just enjoy when people dislike my videos, but I have done it a few times, and it was always the corner. And I did enjoy doing the dislike. I'm like, dude. But I usually just don't engage at all if I don't like the content. Usually, unless I'm really like, oh, yeah, this is stupid. This is really.
And what's going on with Benioff and Weiss, by the way? Aren't they doing like
No,
a
they're
movie
done.
franchise for Netflix? Like, what's going
I
on?
don't-
with
I don't-
that?
I
They
think
haven't
they're
said anything about it.
Their career's pretty much done after that. It's weird.
Well, I know, but like Netflix.
Well,
signed
they
them for so
signed.
much
Didn't they
money.
sign a deal, or did they renege on the deal?
No, they signed a deal, but like we have no word on what they're making. Like they paid almost like $1 billion or something like that for them to develop like multiple series and multiple movies or something like that.
They were smart to lock that up before Game of Thrones died.
Well, no, they locked it up like the moment, like I think it was like right before the last couple episodes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so.
Whoever their agents are deserves a bigger cut.
Well, let's get woke on this next story. Let's get real woke. Race
Yep.
bending that works. Black Canary series. I love this is one of my favorite parts of the Harley Quinn movie, Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey.
Yeah, I think she worked definitely. She was very engaging. It's the moment she has the scene. I think she also, let's be real, let's be honest about the situation. She gets a lot of hate just because of her brother.
Yeah. Also, shout out to
who is
Mercury.
that?
That's her name's. She's Smollett. Her brother's Chelsea.
Oh, they're related.
Yes,
Yeah.
and she's also in a lot
She's
of-
a great actress though. If you
Yes,
guys haven't watched
yes.
Lovecraft, if you
Yeah,
watch
well,
Lovecraft Country on HBO, it's very good.
That
But this-
kind of sucks. But yeah, they'll cancel her by association.
But yes. Oh, don't show that because Warner Brothers. But she, I like.
I'm mad at her. Which she teased
Oh, really?
that she was going to be in in Zack Snyder's cut, and
Oh, really?
everyone was just like her reading a comic, and everyone was like, "Ooh, this is like her alluding that she might be in the Justice League," and everyone was looking at like this nightmare sequence or this nightmare outfit that could have been hers, and I don't know. I'm just like. She kind of fed into those rumors, basically. So yeah, I think we all kind of fed into them
Is she
and made
the
them
one-
bigger than they should have been.
Is she the one thing that's salvageable from Birds of Prey besides Harley Quinn? The Black
I
Canary
like-
series?
I like Huntress.
I liked Huntress. I liked Huntress too, Eddie.
Okay, I didn't like her outfit looked bad to me.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the costumes weren't great, but I mean, I like the actress. I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I,
think it
love
says,
her.
She's great. I just like the shtick about being socially awkward. It kind of gets old. So I hope that she kind of grows into her being this badass and embracing it. And like I get that she's never really been around people or had friends and things like that. But yeah, it kind of breaks the immersion for me whenever like she's a badass one minute and then she like goes back to being like cringy, awkward, social outcast the next minute.
Yeah, that's just them trying to put too much comedy into it.
I mean, it comes with the trauma she has though when she she saw all her family get murdered. So it makes sense that
true.
They did butcher Cassandra Cain though. By the way, I hated what they did with that character.
That's supposed to be Batgirl, right? Or like
she's one of the many Batgirls actually.
What do you think that's a slam dunk if they were to go forward? Would you be all aboard that series if they said Black Canary series for HBO Max?
Yes, especially if they introduce Green Arrow, like DCEU Green Arrow into that series. Yes.
Oh, that would be perfect. Yeah.
I would too, but instead of that, why don't you just finish off Birds of Prey as a series on HBO Max with all of them together to flesh them out more? Because they're barely in the movie, even though it's called Birds of Prey.
I know, movie. I agree. Yeah.
All right.
What about Gotham City Sirens? That's
I wanted that.
I want that so bad.
I wanted that so bad.
Okay. Yeah, they should go that and go super woke with it, the Harley after Joker. Isn't Harley and Poison Ivy a thing? Yeah.
Yeah, in the comics and ever since the animated series, like Paul Dini said, like that was always the intention. That they were always a thing.
They might do after the Suicide Squad comes out. They might bring Harley and King Shark. Bring her, bring it.
So what you're saying, Max, that after the Suicide Squad, they're going to do a live-action version of the Harley Quinn cartoon?
Yeah. Why not?
I would watch that, though. I'm not no joke. I would love that.
I would, too.
Have the producers of the show help out. They have the jokes. Their writing staff is really funny with it. Although the Big Bang Theory girl, she does pretty good, too, though. She does a good Harley.
Oh, yeah. Kelly Kuko's really good.
Hell yeah.
I had another topic, but it's a longer one, and I don't want to get into. I'll save it for next time. It was DC related, but we'll leave that go. Any final comments on our topics or anything else? Anything else you wanted to talk about before we go? Because that's also. Oh, I could bring this up. I don't know.
Bring it up. Just do it.
Okay, well, once you see it, then you'll understand. Like, I don't know if I want
just do it. Just do. Let's see.
All right. I stole this from Eddie too.
Man.
All right.
Shit.
Oh boy, it's can of worms, huh?
Lucasfilm released a new cover for the High Republic comic series showcasing Tarek and Sarah, trans non-binary Jedi. I'm not against it. I just I know I have a feeling about certain reactions from it.
Well, the certain crowd will react negatively to this, but like, I mean, it's fine. I don't mind there being representation for those groups. I don't think representation is a bad thing.
It doesn't hurt me.
No, it does. Right. I
don't read the comics regardless, so I'm already a non-customer. I'm neutral.
If it makes most people happy and they feel like they're represented, then good for them.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what it's about.
They're reaching out to new customers that maybe they feel like they have some representation. Then more power to them. Like I said, I'm not gonna sit there and judge it. And because I don't know anything about the characters, I don't know anything about the comic.
Also, sorry to interrupt, but Zeno's comment about Black Canary's powers. Oh my God!
Wait, hold on.
I see it.
Let me get to
Zeno. That's messed up.
That's funny though. It is funny.
I'm sure the fandom menace will bleed out. They'll make 100 YouTube videos and they'll downvote the shit out of So I mean, I don't know. To me, it's new. Like, it doesn't impact me negatively. And if somebody wants that product, go right ahead. Give it an opportunity to compete in the free market. Ultimately, the free market will decide.
Yeah, you might see the go full range.
Also, Max, you should maybe next show we do. Have you heard about that DC campaign on Twitter where they're voting for like what series should get made? And one of them, they're putting like a Justice League where it's all LGBT characters, like new ones, versus like a Robin book or something. Like, it's all blowing up on Twitter as like a big controversy or whatever.
Oh, really? It's not official HBO that's doing it then, right?
No, it's like the comics, DC Comics.
I think HBO should do an official poll and, be transparent and say, which series do you want? and let the fans decide.
I would love that. Yeah, if the comics can do something like that, like, hey, what comic out of these do you want? And then why not let HBO Max do that?
Again, I put part of the blame on the executives. It got this bad because you promised something you can't deliver on. And even though Firewater has great points about she has been successful with the money, I think we also bought in that we're investing in a future that we're not necessarily getting yet. Well, definitely DCU. Definitely DCU.
Well, here's the problem with DC too. Like, think about this when we compare it to Lucasfilm or even Marvel. With Lucasfilm and Marvel, one person runs that studio. Who really runs DC? They say it's Walter Hamada, but like we've talked about many times, look who's above him. And Sarnoff, Toby Emmerich, Jason Kilar, president of AT&T, whose name I can't remember. It's like there's so many cooks in that kitchen just from a corporate executive level that I feel like that's part of why DC's so disjointed too. There's no one guy,
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, any final comments? Rhea's going to have a channel soon that we'll be picking. Okay.
Yeah, just got to invest in some actual equipment and not, rely on AirPods anymore.
I know. That was so funny when Rhea mentioned that in the comments about her AirPods. I'm like, yeah, because when I first joined, I used AirPods too, and the audio quality is horrible. Like, it's echoes so bad.
RJ's got to get channel. Go sub to RJ. You guys are mods, so you can link your channels in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm being lazy, so you do it yourself. Eddie, Eddie, you're coming up with art? I might spy on Eddie for his article. He has a lot of different videos come out. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know about that.
He's becoming a scooper. I get all my news from Eddie now because he's the first to report it.
Right. That's how I got.
Eddie's on that YouTube grind. Like your feed will you'll learn so much stuff following Eddie.
Yeah. All right. So go sub Eddie. Oh, go ahead, Rhea.
I was gonna say I also appreciate how you're not in it just to like get the hit that like 10-minute threshold that other folks try to get. Like at least like once you get monetized, like I hope you don't start doing that. But I like that you just do like the 2-minute, 3-minute videos, and I'm like I'm in and I'm out, and I get what I need from your content. So thank you for that.
Oh yeah. I just I'm not gonna go on that grift like other people I know on YouTube. I'm making sure I get to the point I talk quick and that's it. And I just
I'm long-winded. I always use live streams. Firewater.
Well, that's what we appreciate.
What are you playing? Gaming and starting fires?
Yeah, just giving my opinion, smashing narratives, and just having fun with it.
Right.
The day it stops being fun is the day I'll stop doing it.
Oh, that's true. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Well, I wanted to keep this a little bit shorter because I also want to play a game. I bought a new game today. Kaze.
Oh, what'd you buy?
Kaze and the Wild Masks. I sent for a review copy, but no one's responding. I'm like, I'm just gonna buy it. It's harder than I was expecting. I'll cover it on the PlayStation Plus podcast Sunday. I really enjoy it though. So I want to do some gaming, watch some movie. I actually, after last night's stream, where we did and if you haven't checked it out, I changed the title. This is an old thumbnail. I changed it to the top 5 movie villain voices of all time. And then we also did top 5 comic book villains of all time. I went back and started to watch Infinity War, just the beginning, to see Thanos' introduction. Man, that scene, I love that scene at the beginning.
It's so good.
When he like body slams Hulk, and then that scene where he got Loki. Oh man, that is a great scene.
Also, I was going to mention, has anybody here watched Godzilla vs. Kong yet?
Oh, yes.
I did.
Okay. That's how. I'll save that for tomorrow.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
I'm disappointed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I might go see it at a movie theater tomorrow, and I want to do a live stream spoiler discussion.
I won't say anything then.
I like the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's great, RJ. I didn't know you were going to go see it tomorrow. Oh, it'll be great to see on the big screen. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited because they're playing an exclusive Suicide Squad trailer. It's like completely different, apparently, from the one we got online.
All right, cool. Enjoy yourself. It's a great movie.
Thank you.
There's great things in it. It's a mixed bag, and
we'll talk about it next time. We'll talk about it next time.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil things for you. Okay, bye everyone. Thanks for joining. And
Thank you for having me.
And then Rhea, stay behind for like a minute or so we could talk to you before you leave. And Eddie, and then but you viewers, you're kicked out. Bye.
Hey, bye.
You can't
I gotta.